Good morning and welcome to World Talks. As promised, we're going to start with the Middle East. In the latest developments in Lebanon, 6 people have been killed and several seriously injured in an Israeli air raid on central Beirut overnight. Israel's military has warned Lebanese people who were ordered to evacuate from the south of the country to stay away, quote, until further notice. To discuss what's going on in Lebanon and the region, I am joined here this morning by Nassim Abi Ghanem, Middle East expert, Bard College, Berlin. Good morning, sir. Delighted to have you with us. Thank you for joining us on the program. So one of the areas of your expertise are non-state actors and their influence on politics. So of course, you've been studying Hezbollah and Hamas, among others. So let me ask you this. Did Hezbollah drag Lebanon into yet another war right now?
The short answer to this question is yes. In 2023, Hezbollah has publicly declared that the launching of missiles from southern Lebanon towards Israel is in support of the ongoing war in Gaza and a mean of distraction also for the Israeli forces. So in that sense, yes, that it has been dragged. There has been numerous calls in Lebanon for Hezbollah to detach from this conflict and to ensure the interests of Lebanon first, and the safety and the security of the Lebanese people to be the utmost priority in that regard. Unfortunately, I don't think Hezbollah had fully understood the immensity of response from Israel. I think they dabbled for a long while in thinking that it is the rules of engagement will be maintained for as long as they want until a ceasefire in Gaza is achieved. However, the events from 17 September onwards have showed that this is not to be the case. And I think that largely backfired on Hezbollah and, most importantly, on the Lebanese people at large.
Right. In an interview with Christiane Amanpour for CNN, Lebanese foreign minister claims that Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah agreed to a ceasefire. So this is the quote: "We agreed completely. Lebanon agreed to a ceasefire, but consulting with Hezbollah. The Lebanese House Speaker consulted with Hezbollah, and we informed the Americans and the French what happened. And they told us Mr. Benjamin Netanyahu also agreed on the statement that was issued by both Presidents Biden and Macron. And then the assassination happened." How do you explain that?
Well, of course, this very much could be true. We cannot now, since the foreign minister is speaking on behalf of someone who has been assassinated, so we can't really ensure that this is 100% to be the case. However, to assume that it was and to move with that, I think this is another evidence that there has been, before Hassan Nasrallah's assassination, Hezbollah has received a lot of they were hit in several areas, including the pagers attack and the attack on its prime unit or the elite unit of operation. So it has been likely that it is the case. Nevertheless, it goes to show that the Israelis' intentions were to go further, especially as they saw Hezbollah being weakened. They took this opportunity to inflict even more pain and inflict more damage on Hezbollah. And the ceasefire was not really in their agenda. And this is not new. We've seen that to be in the case in Gaza, even though several deals have been put on the table that technically, one would say, we heard it a lot of times, that Netanyahu is going to accept it, that there are guarantees for the Americans and the Europeans that Netanyahu is going to accept. When Netanyahu goes back into to his cabinet, there seems to be hardliners who are rejecting that, and it could be equally the case in Lebanon.
Right, Nassim. Some are saying that Netanyahu is trying to redesign the Middle East. This is a phrase that has been repeated several times by various people. So, do you think that this is his goal to go further, to perhaps try to change the balance of power in the region? And if not, what is his aim? Why is he acting the way he is?
So we always have to look, I think, on the regional level, as you said correctly, Sadi, but also on the internal domestic politics of Israel. Certainly, Netanyahu's objectives is beyond. Clearly, it's beyond the security of Israel from its borders, or to bring the hostages back. It seems that he's taking that opportunity to, first of all, strengthen his political position within Israel, and taking that opportunity to attack the Iranian proxies in the region. And also taking the opportunity that the U.S. is completely enthralled within its politics and the presidential elections, unclear policies towards the Middle East, unclear policies towards the Iran, whether there will be another Iranian deal or not, would it be in the benefit of Israel or not? So I think all these components come together, and Netanyahu is finding this great opportunity to target the Iranian proxies in the region, and potentially even if influence the U.S. The U.S. decision towards what will be included in the deal, if there is to be deal or not. What is clear that Netanyahu is trying on several occasions to drag the U.S. into this conflict, and so far the U.S. Administration have tried to distance itself and not to be dragged in that. So changing is perhaps a very strong word on what is the intent here, but definitely changing in a sense of weakening the proxies, at least those around from in Lebanon and Gaza, so Hamas and Hezbollah particularly, and perhaps to a certain extent the Houthis in Yemen is certainly on the agenda.
So, just staying on the topic of Israel, just for a moment longer, Israel is yet to respond to the Iranian attack from a few days ago. So, my question is, what kind of response will that be, if we could speculate? Some are saying that there will be no response, others are saying it will be symbolic. But there are voices that it could also be a massive attack targeting Iranian nuclear facilities, perhaps using the bunker-busting bombs. So what is your take on this?
Well, it seems that since April 13, this tit for tat between Iran and Israel will continue. Certainly, the attacks that we saw 2 days ago are slightly different than that on April 13. However, they still more or less are symbolic. Iran needed to save face through because they're losing a lot of support on the ground. Certainly after Haniyeh assassination and Nasrallah's assassination, the support and the looking towards Iran for any support seems to have been diminishing significantly. And then Iran had to do something. And despite launching several ballistic missiles, it did seem to be ineffective. However, yes, this again, Israel will take this opportunity to attack Iran. It seems it's yet to be seen how massive it will be and how strong it will be through the negotiations with the U.S. I think the U.S. this time is stepping up because they are aware of how easy for this to go astray and to cause even more problems. So it is yet to be seen in the discussion. It seemed from looking just at the speeches of Biden and even some of the Israeli politicians and spokespersons that they're trying to belittle the effects of the Iranian attack. But there will definitely be a response again, likely to be to save face, to show some sort of deterrence, but to how strong that would be is yet to be seen. Even if it is on the nuclear facilities, I think they will ensure that it will not escalate into a fully fledged war or a more all-out war. Neither Iran nor the U.S. are willing to do this at the moment.
Right, but the emergency Security Council meeting was initiated by France. So my question is, what can Europe do? You're also based in Berlin, so perhaps Germany also could present a certain stance on the issue. What are the voices there?
Germany and France have been active in negotiating between the Lebanese government and Israel, and hoping to end some ceasefire or reignite the 1701 resolution, as you mentioned today, and ensure that it is applied. For this to be really fruitful, though, three conditions need to be met. One, that both parties feel that there is something to lose, so they're both hurting, and both parties have a one unified speech on the topic, that one spokesperson, and to provide a way out for both parties. As it stands, unfortunately, there's no pain or hurting stalemate on Israel. There has been no pressure from the EU or the US significant enough to stop Israel. And since Israel has been very much successful in targeting Hezbollah over the past 2 weeks, they don't see an imminent need to stop this. Now, of course, with the land invasion, this could all change. On the other hand, also the spokesperson on both sides is absent. We are not very sure who has took the reins in Hezbollah after the assassination of Nasrallah. Also in Israel, it seems there is every time there is something mentioned or stated, when they go back to the cabinet, the more hardliners of Ben Gvir and Smotrich manage to change Netanyahu's mind. And as of now, there's no way out that can save face and give some success to either party, so they can go back to their own constituency and say, well, this did bring security for us. So until these conditions are met or made possible, I fear that all these attempts are not yet ripe enough.
Nassim, one last short question. I need a short answer. Will Lebanese army get involved in the hostilities in the south?
Unlikely. This has been the stance of the Lebanese government, and this is a completely different. It will take the war into a completely different direction. Evidence so far shows that the Lebanese army will unlikely to take part in this.
Nassim Abi Ghanem, thank you so much for being with us this morning. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching World Talks. Please stay tuned for more here on TVP World. World News coming right up.